This video file is recorded in Sabancı University during the recitations for the CS201 Introduction to Computing course, as it was given in the fall 2016 semester.
Hello everyone, this is the 11th week, and as you know, you will have your midterm, second midterm, on Tuesday, not on Monday. It was rescheduled. So you can guess it that today we're going to do some preparations during all of the 3 lectures for your midterm. And things that we're going to cover are basically things that we have already done, but we just want to warm you up and tell you what kind of questions you should expect at your midterm, okay? So we are going to cover today maybe like 10 examples, 11. And I think that should be sufficient for you. Of course, you should pay attention to today's questions and everything from the first week, from the second week, up until now. You can expect any question at your midterm, okay? Thank you. So, I would urge you initially to do something like this. You will have a cheat sheet, A4 page. You can use it only from one side. And in that cheat sheet, please write the classes, the classes and the member functions of the corresponding classes that we have done up until now. Namely, you should write the date class. And we are going to see an example or two today with the date class. You should write the dice class. You should write the robot class, random generator class. Since it might be possible that they won't be given to you, since you have your cheat sheet, but definitively you should expect a question, like one question for the date, one question for the random number generator, one question about robots, and so on, okay? So stuff that we have already done in the recitations, we are going to do today during the preparations, and that you have done when you wrote your assignments. Okay, let's not waste time and let's go with the first example. It's about the date class. So I'm going to write the date class here. The member functions, the most important class date. So, as you remember, the most important member functions were the private or member functions or properties of the date class, where you remember the month, the day, and the year. They were all private data of type integer. Public. What did we have here? Most important here are member functions, and I expect from you to know what a member function is. It's a function that is defined and applies only to that particular class. So all the classes have this member function. This is called the constructor. Namely, the name of the class and the name of this function is the same. So when you declare a new variable of type date, you're going to do it by calling the constructor, the function that has the same name as the class name. So here you take, I think you take first the month, then the day, and afterwards the year as a parameter, and correspondingly you set the month, the day, and the year from the private data. What do you have else? I mean, you have a lot of member functions, but I'm going to write today only those that we are going to use today, and of course there are some member functions and also functions that are not member functions, but that deal with the date class that we have already covered during the recitations, I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So you should take them into consideration also. So, the date function, the constructor basically. What else do we have? Day name. This member function returns the name of the day of the date that we have given. Okay? So, today is the 8th of December 2016, and if we call the day name function, it's going to return Thursday, because today is Thursday. We have another function which is called day. It returns an integer, so remember those. And it returns today's date. Today's day from the 12th month. Namely, it's going to return 8 because today is 8th of December. So day returns 8, the day. Days in returns the number of days in the month that we are currently living. For instance, if it's 12, it's going to return 31. This is December, the 12th month has 31 days. What else do we need? There's an operator. It's also a public function. We are going to deal with operators during the CS204 course, Advanced Programming. So operator, OStream, output stream. We are going to use this operator to print the date. Okay? Because the compiler doesn't know how to handle the date, how to print it. Okay? And you should explicitly or sometimes implicitly tell to the compiler how to deal with printing the date class. Okay? So this is to use cout if you have a variable of type date. This would be all for the time being. If we have something else to add, we are going to add. So private and public members. Okay, now our job is the following. The 23rd of April of a certain year is Sunday. And we want to know what would the day be for October 29th of the same year. Okay, so do you have any idea how we can do this? Let's say that in 2015, I'm making it up, I'm not sure about that, I don't know it, I didn't check it. Let's say that on the 23rd of April of 2015 was a Sunday, and we are asking what is going to be, what's the day of the 29th of October of 2015 of the same year, meaning from Monday to Sunday. So if in 2015, then let's say that it's going to be Tuesday. If it's the case in 2015, is that going to be the case in 2021? Why do you think so? They change. But if I say, okay, for 2015, let's say the 23rd of April is Sunday. Okay? And the 29th of October is, let's say, Tuesday. Then again in 2137, 23rd of April is again Sunday. What's going to be the day of 29th of October of 2037? Is that going to be the same or not? Does the year matter or not? What do you think? Yes or no? I mean, let me put it in another way. Let me transform it to another question. From 23rd of April up to 29th of October, is there a constant number of days? Yes or no? So if there is constant number of days, then the year doesn't matter. It's always, if the 23rd of April is Sunday, no matter the year, always 29th of October is going to be the same day. Okay? But this is the case since we are dealing from April up until October. What if this was 23rd of January? Would that be the case? From 23rd of January up until 29th of October. Do we have constant number of dates? Exactly, because of the leap years. Because February sometimes might have 29 days, sometimes might have 28 days. Okay, so it's not constant. But from the 23rd of April up to the 29th of October, there is always constant number of dates. Okay, meaning if in a certain year, whatever the year is not important, the 23rd of April, if on a certain year is Sunday, then the 29th of October will be maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm not sure. We should write a program to check it. Okay? So let's write that program. Okay, I'll start from here. We are going to include the necessary headers. Do we have enough light here? Is this better? Okay. So, include the ordinary libraries like IOStream, string, I'm not going to write it. So I'm including the string library, string header. Since we are dealing with dates, what should we include? The date. Yeah, but since we wrote the date class, it's not going to be written in angle parentheses, but it's going to be written in this manner with quotation mark, date point h, meaning that this is a user-defined library. So, of course, we are using the namespace std. Sometimes, I mean, you shouldn't do this in your exam if the question asks from you to write a program from scratch, not a function, a program. But since I don't want to deal with this stuff again today, I'm going to write something like this, meaning, I mean, not only the date, I can include the string utilities class, I can include the robot class, I can include the random generator class, the dice class, if you remember. And I encourage you to go through all the examples that are dealing with the date, with the dice class, with random number generator. What else? So all the examples that we covered, cover them. I mean, go through them. So instead of writing all the necessary classes, I'm going to write something like this. Include all point h, meaning that I'm including everything which is necessary to be included in my program. So let's start with the main part, the main function, void main. April is the 4th month, so what I'm trying to do is the following. I'm giving the 4th month as an input. So I will do something like this. We saw that the year doesn't matter, okay? So if for a certain year, 23rd of April is Sunday, for any year, 29th of October, if the 23rd of April is Sunday, 29th of October will be the same date for all the years. That's why what I want to do first, I want to find a year for which 23rd of April is Sunday, and afterwards I'm going to find and print what's the day for the 29th of October. When I say day, I mean something from Monday to Sunday. So 23rd of April means that month is the 4th month. Day is 23. Day is 23. And I'm making the year to be this year. Let's say 2016. Semicolon. I'm defining a new variable of Boolean type, which is called check. Initially, it's true. And it's going to be true. Check true means that I haven't found a year for which 23rd of April is Sunday. Okay, so I'm going to increase the year, increment the year up until I find a year I want. So I have a while loop, and it's going to be while check. I could have written while true here, but never mind. And I'm going to repeat this loop up until check is going to be false. And when check is going to be false, when I find a year for which 23rd of April is Sunday. So here I'm declaring a variable of type date, and its name is going to be MIDTERM. And you see, always when I create a variable of type date, I'm going to use the constructor. And since there is one constructor, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's only one, I'm going to give the parameters here. So what I expect is first to give the month, the day, and the year. So I'm giving the month that I already entered, the day, and the year. Now I'm checking if my date, so I have the date. How can I get the name of the day? Which member function I should use? Day name. So if my date point day name is what? Is not equal to Sunday, that's why I'm using the string library here for this not equal. So if this is not the case for this year, let me try it for the next year. I'm doing this stuff, year plus plus. I'm incrementing the year up until I find the suitable date. But if this is false, that means that the day name, it should be here in parentheses, that if this is false, that means that I found what I'm looking for. So with another else clause here, I'm going to say that, okay, check is false now. I don't have to check anymore because I found the year for which Sunday is 23rd of April. So else check equals to false. And you remember check was a Boolean variable. So I close the parentheses. I increment the year up until I find something which is Sunday. When I find something which is Sunday for the 23rd of April, I make this variable false. So when I'm going to check it here, it's going to be false and I'm going out of the loop. And finally, what should I do? You remember the question. I mean, if for a certain year the 23rd of April was Sunday, what is going to be the 29th of October? So what should I do? I found the year. Now what should I do? Program continues here. Come on, any clues? Can you be a bit louder? Yes? If you when saying subtract days, what do you mean by that? I mean, what should I put here? Yeah, exactly. I mean, the year should be the same. Now I should put the corresponding month and day, meaning 29th of October. October is the 10th month. Day is 29. The year is the year that we found here. So I'm going to put it here. Again, I'm going to change. I mean, you can do it in a different way. So month is 10, meaning October. Day is 29. The year is the one that we found. So I'm declaring another variable called date, of type date, called MIDTERM. I can use this one as well, it's not a problem. And it takes the month as a parameter, which is now 10, the day, which is now 29, and the year that we found here in this while loop. And I should print it. Okay, so how am I going to print it? Can you tell me? I'm going to use this operator, meaning that I'm using cout, and I can even print my date too, and line. Those are errors. Or if I want to be more precise, I want the day name. That's why I'm going to use this one, this member function here, day name. So cout the day name corresponding to 29th of October is, and I'm printing my date to point day name. Okay, this is it. I shouldn't return anything here because it's a void function. And I should just close the brackets. This is for main. This one here was for the while. You can use this technique if you have a lot of brackets. Sometimes you have to close maybe even 10 brackets and you are confused. Which one are you closing now? You can just comment it here like this. This is for the while. This is for the if. And if there are multiple whiles nested, you can write this is for while check, the other one is for while blah, 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 the other one is for another while, and so on. So this is the first question. It's an easy one, and I'm telling you, you should expect something similar in your exam. Any questions about the first question? If there are no questions, let me continue with the second example. Yes, of course.
Should we write that year is equal to 2000?
No, you can put any year here you want. Because I told you, if it makes sense for a certain year, it's going to make sense for any year. Because the number of days from 23rd of April up until 29th of October is constant. So if this is true for 2016, it's going to be true for any day. Okay? So what we want to find is any year for which the 23rd of April is Sunday. Okay? And this loop helps us to do exactly that. Okay? So we increment the year, check whether the 23rd of April of that certain year is Sunday. If it's not, we increment it up until we find it. When we find it, we make this Boolean variable be false, so we go out of the loop, we found the year, and just reprint the 29th of October.
And where is the date from? The dates from January to October?
That's something else. Then you should check whether it's a leap year or not. And I think there is a function, member function, which is called isLeap, that you can use. Okay? Yes, I think it's Boolean. It returns true or false. Or if it doesn't exist, you can write it. If you don't want to write it, you can just check. You can use the function days in for the second month, for February. If it returns 29, that means that it's a leap year. Okay? How do you say leap in Turkish, by the way? Artı. Artık. Okay. Questions? No questions. Let's go then with the second question. (2a). So, we want to write a function, or even better, to write a comment only, with one semicolon, that takes a date as parameter, let it be a function, and returns the number of days between that date and the last day of that month. For instance, today is 8th of December. Until the end of the month, how many days do we have? How did you get it? How did you calculate it? How many days does December have? 31. Or if you're not sure, you can use days in minus this day. You can use the day. This day returns the integer of this today's day. So if it's 8th of December, day is going to return for that particular class, for that particular date variable, it's going to return 8. Days in is going to return 31. So what should we do? It's straightforward, I mean. Can someone write it? Or, I mean, not write it, just tell me how should I proceed. What should I write here? So we have a certain date. It is passed as a parameter to the function. And our job is to calculate how many days are left until the end of month. That, of course, is going to return an integer, since the days left are integer. Let me call the function difference of days, div day. So, and I am taking, of course, a variable of type date called this day. I think it should be straightforward. I can write only one comment about that. Since this is a function, it should return something. So immediately I'm going to write a return, but not 0. What should I return? 31 minus 8. December has 31 days. Today is 8th of December. But of course, we might give another function. For instance, for February, it might have 28 days. So, which functions are we going to use here? Days in and day. So, what should I do? Come on. I should return the remaining days up until the end of the month. So December has 31 days. Today is 8th of December. So I should calculate 31 minus 8. This is it. But of course I should do it using member functions here. Because I'm too lazy. I don't want to bother myself with that. So, what I'm going to do? Come on. How can I find the number of days in a certain month? With which function? Days in. Yeah, days in means the days in that month. So, this day, point days in, and it's a function. Okay. So let's say that this day is today's date, 8th of December 2016. How many days does December have? Days in days. 31. It's going to return 31. Minus, I should subtract it with today's date. And how I get today's date? There's a function called day. That's why this day, point day. No more, no less. So in our case, this guy is going to return 31 minus 8. The compiler is going to calculate how much is that, and it's going to be returned since we are expecting an integer. And both days in is an integer, day is an integer. Their subtraction is an operation closed inside of the integers. So I'm returning an integer. This is it. So this is 2a. Let's skip the B part and let's go directly to the C part. So what is going to be the output of this program? First we pass the month as parameter, then the day, then the year. Horror day is equal to day plus 3. Okay, so what are we going to have as an output? We are using the operator plus. And you remember what plus was doing? Adding days. Okay, so if today is 8th of December, and I say today's date plus 1, it's going to be 9th of December. Okay, if I say, if today is 8th of December, and I say, okay, today's date plus 3, it's going to be 11th of December 2016. Okay, so this is operator plus. I'm not sure whether the operator plus was a member function or function that was outside from the class, but it was dealing with the class. I'm not sure about that, but I'm writing it here. And you should know that this is what the operator plus is doing. It's incrementing the name. It's adding the name of the days. It expects an integer as a parameter. So day is a date. We define another date called horror day. So this day plus 3 is going to return a date, which is, well, what's the date of the new date that is going to be returned? So this date plus 3 more days, which is what? 9th of December. Okay. Then we define a string, which is equal to horror day, point day name. Okay. So let's go with C again. We have class day, and when I say class day, you have all the member functions of this variable called day, of type date. You have everything inside. So private, this is the month. And what's the month of this guy? It's 12. This is the day. What's the day? It's 6th. And what's the year? It's 2016. 2016. We have other private data, but we don't care about them. And what do we have else? Public. We have all of those guys, all of the functions defined here. Okay? We are going to use in this case only the which operator? Operator plus, which takes an integer as a parameter, returns a day. A date, not a day, and the date that is going to be returned is this day here, incremented by the number of days, the parameter, incremented with the number of days, the parameter we have sent this. So, and we have also the operator output stream for printing the day. We define another day called horror day. Was that so? Yeah, horror day. And just pay attention to this stuff here. It's equal to day plus 3, meaning we add 3 days to day, and that guy is assigned to horror day. If we add 3 days to this date here, then this guy also has private data. The month of this guy is going to be the same. It's again 12. We have 3 more days. So it's going to be 9 here. And we have a year, which is 2016. So day is 9. Of course, we have the public parameters, and I'm not going to write them again. But pay attention. What if I added 35 days here? Or what if I added 30 days? Would the day be 36 here? Since this is 6 plus 30, 36. What do you think? No. It won't be 36. It's going to be 30 more days from that current day. So we have December here. It's going to be up to 31. And when the day is going to be 31, then the month is going to be incremented. So the month is going to be 1. If this month is incremented, this year is going to be incremented. It's going to be 2017, okay? So this is how the date class works, okay? It makes no sense to say today is the 35th of December. But it makes sense to say that, okay, after 31 days, it's going to be the 9th of January 2017. So if I add 31 days to this variable here, horror day, then it will be, the result of that would be 31 days, is December has 31 days. After 31 days, it's going to be 9th again. The month is going to be January, but the year is going to be 2017. So 9/1/2017. This is how the date class works. So far, so good. Now let's go with the last command. We are printing horror day. So this is our output, basically. This is what we will get from the command prompt, from the console. So horror day, when I print it, I forgot the format. I think it's printing 23rd October, something like that. No, it's not printing like that. So it's printing something like this. It's printing the month first. So 12th month, this is December. Then it's printing the day, something like this. And it's printing the year, 2016. But in the end, we are printing also the string S. And I forgot to tell you about that. Yeah, I skipped a line of code. So let me define S here, which is a string. And what's the value of S? Is horror day point day name. So what's the day name of 9th of December? 2016. It's what? So what's today's date? Today's 8th of December. Tomorrow is going to be 9th of December. And tomorrow is Friday. Yeah. So this is going to be Friday. So with this part here, we printed the date, horror day. This is how we defined it. When we print a date, it's printed like this. The month, given not as an integer, but as a string. December in our case. Day, year. And afterwards, we have an empty space and we print the string S. And the value of the string is Friday. So this is going to be the output of this program here, of those 4 lines. Any questions? Is this understood? Yeah, that's easy. Now let's go with another example. Do we have time? Yeah. For a short example. Okay. 8th question. Let's see, what do we have here? So, what is a possible use of seeing clear? Do you remember seeing clear from last recitations? Yes or no? What did we do it with that? Why did we use that? Can someone explain to me? So if I declare a variable of type integer, and I'm trying to store, to put a string in that integer. So I've reserved a memory which is expecting an integer, and I'm trying to put a string instead of an integer. Is that going to be accepted or not? What do you think? Yes or no? I mean, if I ask you how old are you, and you say I'm 3 years old, does that make sense? No. So if you apply somewhere and that application is asking for your age, are you going to put your name there? No, it makes no sense. So the same applies when we want to store, let's say, a string to a variable which is of type integer. We're expecting an integer, but hey, the user is not concentrated. Okay, so we're asking from the user an input which is integer, and he gives a string. We should not accept it. But there is a problem with that. So we are going to use scene in order to read an input from the user. So let me write a piece of code. It's something like this, integer a. And I'm trying to read this a. I mean, I'm expecting an input from the user, and the user gives this as his or her input, a string. So it's going to be a mistake. But there is a problem behind this mistake. Scene is also kind of a class. Okay? So you remember from last recitations, it has private data, public data. What we are doing with scene is the following. I'm not sure about the names, but I know how the logical principles behind it work. So, if we are prompting, if we are asking from a user to enter a certain integer, a certain input, let's say it's an integer, and the user prints r3, a string. The input of the user is going to be put to a buffer, and at the moment when we are trying to put this input, to transfer this input to this variable here, we will see a mistake. So there is something else called the flag. Again, I'm not sure about the exact names. I'm telling how it works. This flag is either 0 or 1. If everything is okay, then it's going to be 0. But when I'm trying to transfer, to put this r3 to an integer, this flag was initially 0, but now it's going to be 1. Okay? And if I try to use scene again, I cannot use it. In order to use it, there's a function called clear. Okay, I cannot use it since the flag is set to 1. In order to use it again, then I have to call this function clear. This clear makes the flag to be 0 again, or false. Or basically, it lets us to use the scene again. But there's another problem here. We have this buffer, which is not empty. That's why, if we have a mistake, and scene, this is, of course, we have the operator input stream, just as we had the operator output stream for the date class. We have here the operator input stream, and this returns true or false. True means that, yeah, it was successful. False if it's not successful. So, If this guy is true, then okay. Else, this is usually what we want to do. Scene clear, to clear the flag, so we can continue using the scene class. But there's another problem left. This is the buffer. We want to make it empty. So we can define an ordinary string S and then put the content of the buffer to the string. Okay, and we can continue using scene without any problem. So when this is successful, the buffer is going to be emptied. And only when this buffer is empty, I can take out the data. Okay? This is how the scene works. So the question, and you saw it during the last recitations. You can check the videos. I explained it. I'm explaining it again here for the newcomers. So if I ask you, what is the possible use of scene clear? It's this, to clear the flags. So I can use the scene when a mistake happens of a type, let's say I'm trying to put a string to an integer variable as an input from the user. This is it. Let's continue with B. And this will be our last question. And I'll give you a break of 5 minutes. Okay. I'll concentrate and I want your answer. You have two functions. The name is the same. So let's see those two functions. Both are called string process. And both of them take a string as a parameter. But which one is better? The first one or the second one? If you're wondering what does this const mean, it's constant, meaning that I cannot change this string. But I'm passing it as a parameter, as a reference here. And with this string as str, I'm sending a normal parameter, meaning a copy of the parameter, of the original. So even if I change this, the original will be untouched. But here, when I send the reference, the original might be changed. But if I put a const clause here, then a const statement, then this reference parameter is not going to be changed. The compiler will not allow it. So my question to you is the following. So in both cases, if I change the string here, I don't have constant here. But if I change the copy, I don't care since I have the original. Here I cannot change the copy. The original. I'm sending the original, but I cannot change it because of const. Okay? So which one is better to use, the first or the second one? And why?
Usually it depends on why we use it.
Exactly, and you want to use it just to process the string. And you don't want to, you want to find its length, to find the number of words, and etc. But yeah, you're right. Your statement is right. Your logic is correct, depending for what do we use it. We use it to process the string. Let's say, count the number of words. We don't want to change it. And both of them will not allow us to change it. So which one is better? What do you think? And why? Give me, you might be wrong, but just give guesses, come on. It's very nice to be wrong, it's okay. Even the biggest scientists are wrong. Try to think. You think both of them are? There's no difference. Let me tell you about the difference. Let's say that you are using a relatively old laptop with 128 bytes. So for integers, we are seeing that the length of integers is 32 bits. Okay, but what's the length of, it's fixed, it's always 32 bits. But what's the length of the string? Is that defined? I can do something like this. I can put all the available books in the world in one string. Yeah, it might be 100 gigabytes, 100 terabytes, billions of terabytes. But I can do it if I have memory. So just imagine you have only 128 megabytes of memory, and you have a string that you have included all of your books in your hard disk as a string, and you are trying to send it as a parameter. So which one do you want to use, the first or the second one? So if with this one you don't send a copy, with this one you send a copy. So the first one, because you don't want to send another copy to waste your memory, because you are sure none of them is going to change the original. But at this guy you don't make a copy, so you save your memory. And it's very critical sometimes, because especially if you work in old computers, let's say you have 128 megabytes of RAM, and your string is 100 megabytes. When you call this function without sending it as a reference, 100 megabyte plus 100 megabyte of the copy, it's 200 megabytes, and you don't have enough memory for that. Okay? So the program will say out of memory. But if you send it as a reference, and you are sure because of this const statement it's not going to be changed, it's better. Okay, this will be all for this class. See you in 5 minutes.